The wedding hall glittered beneath the warm afternoon sun. Filled with laughter, expensive suits, sparkling dresses, and smiling families. Yet one man stood completely alone near the entrance, holding a small gift wrapped in plain brown paper. Every joyful sound around him only reminded him of the silence waiting at home. Some guests looked at him with curiosity, others with pity, and a few whispered without knowing the battles hidden behind his tired eyes. Just when he decided to quietly leave before anyone noticed him, a confident female voice echoed across the entire garden. It was loud enough to stop every conversation. The elegant CEO who lived next door looked straight at him and shouted with tears shining in her eyes, "Look at me!" In that single unforgettable moment, hundreds of guests turned toward the lonely single father, and the secret that had been buried for years was finally ready to change both of their lives forever. Before we continue this emotional journey, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who still believes in second chances, and subscribe to the channel Heart of Wholesome if you believe kindness and second chances can change a life forever. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts around the world. Nathan Hale was 36 years old, a quiet construction estimator with rough hands, kind eyes, and a heart that had learned to carry pain without complaining. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife, Emily, after a sudden illness that gave their family almost no time to prepare. Since then, every sunrise had begun with responsibility instead of hope. He woke before dawn every day, prepared breakfast, packed school lunches, braided his 8-year-old daughter Lily's hair as best as he could, worked long hours, and returned home before sunset to help with homework, laundry, and bedtime stories. There was never enough money, never enough sleep, and never enough time. But somehow there was always enough love. Nathan rarely attended social events, because every celebration reminded him of the empty chair beside him. Weddings were especially painful. Watching couples promise forever while remembering promises that had ended too soon felt almost unbearable. But the groom, Daniel Mercer, had been Nathan's closest friend since childhood. Missing the ceremony was never an option. So on a bright Saturday afternoon, wearing the only dark blue suit he still owned, carefully pressed the night before, Nathan left Lily with her grandmother and drove to the countryside wedding venue alone. The celebration was breathtaking. White flowers lined the pathways, soft music floated through the air, and sunlight reflected beautifully from a peaceful lake behind the ceremony area. Families gathered for photographs while children ran across the green lawn chasing bubbles. Nathan smiled politely whenever someone greeted him, but deep inside he felt invisible. Everyone seemed to belong to someone except him. Among the guests was another person who noticed everything without saying a word. Her name was Victoria Ashford, a 40-year-old technology CEO known throughout the city for building one of the fastest-growing software companies in the country. Newspapers described her as fearless, brilliant, and impossible to impress. Employees admired her leadership, while competitors respected her determination. Yet very few people knew the lonely woman hidden behind magazine covers and business awards. Victoria had recently moved into the house next door to Nathan. Their neighborhood was peaceful, filled with tall maple trees and quiet mornings. Although they had lived only a few houses apart for nearly a year, their conversations had never gone beyond friendly greetings. She often noticed Nathan leaving before sunrise, with a lunchbox in one hand and Lily's backpack in the other. She saw him mowing his elderly neighbor's lawn without asking for payment, carrying groceries for older residents, and repairing broken fences during weekends. He never looked for attention. He simply helped because helping was part of who he was. Unknown to Nathan, Victoria admired that quiet kindness more than any business success she had ever achieved. When Daniel invited both neighbors separately to his wedding, neither knew the other would attend. Nathan found a quiet table near the back after the ceremony ended. While everyone laughed during family photographs, he looked at an old picture stored inside his wallet. It showed Emily smiling beneath the same summer sunlight years earlier. He whispered a silent promise that he was still trying his best to raise Lily exactly the way they had dreamed together. Victoria watched him from across the garden. The confidence she carried inside boardrooms suddenly disappeared. For months she had wanted to thank him for inspiring her in ways he could never imagine. Watching his everyday sacrifices had slowly changed her own life. Victoria herself had grown up with very little. Her father had abandoned the family when she was only 6 years old, leaving her hard-working mother to raise 2 children alone. She knew what it meant to watch a single-parent struggle every day while pretending everything would be all right. Seeing Nathan dedicate every ounce of strength to Lily reminded her of her own childhood and the sacrifices that had shaped her future. The wedding reception continued beneath clear blue skies. Guests clinked glasses, musicians played cheerful melodies, and photographers captured every happy smile. Then the master of ceremonies invited married couples onto the dance floor before asking single guests to join a fun tradition. Nathan quietly stepped backward. He had no intention of participating. He simply wanted to leave unnoticed. As he reached the garden path leading toward the parking area, Victoria suddenly stood from her chair. Months of hesitation disappeared in a heartbeat. She knew that if she allowed this moment to pass, she might regret it forever. Before fear could stop her, she called out with a voice that echoed across the entire venue. "Look at me!" Every conversation stopped. Even the musicians lowered their instruments. Nathan slowly turned around, surprised that such an accomplished woman was looking directly at him. Victoria walked across the grass without caring about the curious eyes surrounding them. Her elegant cream-colored dress moved gently in the afternoon breeze, but her expression carried something far more powerful than confidence. It carried gratitude. When she finally stood in front of Nathan, tears filled her eyes. She admitted that for months, she had watched him become the father every child deserved. She confessed that every morning she saw him encouraging Lily before school, even when exhaustion covered his face. She revealed that seeing his quiet strength had reminded her of her own mother and inspired her to reconnect with family members she had neglected while chasing success. The entire garden listened in complete silence. Victoria explained that business awards had never impressed her as much as watching one exhausted father choose kindness every single day. Despite carrying unimaginable grief, many guests lowered their heads. Some quietly wiped away tears. Nathan himself struggled to believe what he was hearing. For years he believed nobody noticed his efforts. He believed the world only celebrated wealth, beauty, and success. Yet here stood one of the city's most successful women thanking him for simply being a good father. Daniel smiled proudly from across the reception. Because he had secretly hoped this meeting would happen. He knew both of them carried loneliness that neither deserved. The photographer captured the emotional moment without interrupting. That photograph would later become far more valuable than every perfectly posed wedding picture taken that afternoon. From that day forward, something quietly changed. Victoria began joining Nathan and Lily during neighborhood charity events. Instead of discussing profits, she learned how to bake cupcakes for school fundraisers. Instead of spending weekends inside executive meetings, she volunteered at community reading programs where Lily happily helped younger children choose books. Nathan never treated Victoria like a celebrity CEO. He treated her like any other neighbor, with honesty, respect, and simple kindness. For the first time in years, Victoria laughed without worrying about shareholders or quarterly reports. Nathan slowly realized healing did not mean forgetting Emily. It meant allowing happiness to exist beside cherished memories instead of replacing them. Months later, Lily surprised both adults with a handwritten drawing. It showed 3 people holding hands beneath a bright daytime sky. Above them, she had written, "Families grow with love." Neither Nathan nor Victoria could speak. Sometimes children understand life's greatest truths long before adults do. Victoria eventually established a scholarship in honor of hardworking single parents, pursuing better opportunities for their children. She insisted the program remain anonymous because she wanted the focus to remain on hope instead of publicity. Nathan continued living the same humble life. He still packed lunches before sunrise. He still repaired neighbors' fences. He still believed kindness mattered, even when nobody seemed to notice. The difference was simple. Now he knew someone had always been watching. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe to Heart of Wholesome, and tell us in the comments what part of Nathan's journey moved you the most. Your support helps these stories inspire thousands of people around the world. Special comment request, comment below. Kindness is never invisible. As another beautiful afternoon sun painted the neighborhood in warm golden light, Nathan stood outside his home watching Lily ride her bicycle while Victoria laughed nearby. Life had not erased the pain of yesterday, but it had gently written hope into tomorrow. Nathan finally understood that sometimes the loudest miracle is not applause from strangers, but one brave voice willing to say, "Look at me," because behind those words can be the beginning of a brand new life. And in that simple moment, two lonely hearts discovered that second chances often arrive when we least expect them, proving that love built on kindness is stronger than any sorrow life can bring.